Hello everyone, this is Lily Luna, and this is part two of my DMac analysis. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. This is definitely going to run into several parts. I only got about 14 minutes in last time. So yeah, we'll see how long. I'll try to keep each video to maybe 30, 45 minutes max so they don't run super long, and we'll see how many parts it ends up being. So last we left off, he had just given John his he was signing off on letting John search his vehicle. So I just skipped back to that a little bit so we wouldn't miss anything. So let's go ahead and get started.
I couldn't tell you the plate number of my truck, and I've had it for 5 years. Somebody ever steals it, I'm in trouble.
Yeah, well,
that's pretty good.
That's the second vehicle I had, and that's the only vehicle I've locked. So.
All right. And I told you already, my name is John Dudinsky, right?
Yes.
And I'm with the Attorney General's office.
I mean, please don't arrest me because I can't survive in jail.
Well, we're gonna talk about some stuff. All right. So, just stay calm, drink your water, relax.
I can't drink water.
We got time.
Okay, this has always puzzled me. Why can't he drink water? I mean, I can't think of any medical reason why somebody can't drink water. That makes no sense to me. The only medical condition I can think of that limits drinking is I think when people are are having kidney issues, or maybe had like a kidney or on dialysis, maybe sometimes they have to limit fluids. And the other one is when people have weight loss surgery, certain types of weight loss surgery, they have to limit fluids, I believe. But neither is the case. So why? I have to think that that's just him trying to get him to feel sorry for him in any way that he can think of, because so far it's just not working for him, and he's still, he's desperate here. Anybody who's in this position, who is, the type that Dustin is, who's just scared out of his mind, scared shitless, basically. You're desperate. You're gonna do anything, say anything that you possibly can if you think it'll somehow get you out of it. But obviously, that's not gonna work. So, moving on.
Trying to talk, okay? So, we're not gonna get in a hurry about anything.
What's the camera recording or something?
Yep,
Yeah,
it is.
That's so that, protects both of us. You can't say I did something to you in here, and I can't say that, you did something you didn't do.
I mean, like I said, I'm going to cooperate because, I'm so guilty. I'm under a rock.
So that, what he says right there, I'm so guilty, I'm under a rock, that would seem to imply some remorse, but it does not come off as genuine at all. I think he's just saying that he's saying whatever he can say to try to get him to feel sorry for him, to realize, oh, he doesn't belong here, let's get him out of here. There are parts in this interview where Dustin, in my opinion, does express some genuine emotion, but it's always about him. It's always, for what he's going to lose, what's going to happen to him. There's never any remorse for, what could have been a real victim, or what could be victims that he, has done something to in the past. It's just about him. So that was not genuine at all.
Okay, what this states is that
I did anything but physical.
You hereby consent to.
What did he say? I did anything but physical. I don't really know what he's talking about there. There's a couple times where he mumbles stuff where it's kind of hard to hear what he's saying, but I did anything but physical. yeah, I don't really know what he's talking about. So moving on.
A complete search of the premises, property, or vehicle located at Bowling Green Police.
Oh, hear that sigh where he, um, I think it's really, really starting to sink in now, like how bad of a situation this is for him. He's realizing they're going to search his vehicle. They're probably going to search his home. Because I think when they said premises, that is what kind of made it. That's when he let out that sigh. Because they're going to search his home, find his computer, find what we now know was on his computer. So yeah, I think it's really kind of starting to sink in now, like how serious of a situation that he's in.
Police Department.
What was all those cameras here? Is that NBC or what?
Yep.
They have to get my permission to use it, don't they?
Well, you're gonna have to discuss that with them. I don't have anything to do with that. I'm with the police agency.
I thought you all.
It's interesting the way John laughed a little bit there when he said that. I wonder if he maybe wasn't the biggest fan of the whole NBC thing, because I'm sure there are cops out there that weren't really big on that are like, no, that our job is law enforcement, not to, make a big spectacle out of things, and our jobs are just to catch these guys. So I wonder if maybe he just wasn't big on that. But I have to say it does bother me a little bit they when because he's not the only one that's done that, where they don't really take any ownership of the whole Dateline investigation, because whether he's a fan of it or not, and obviously it wouldn't have been his decision to participate in this, but they did still work with these guys. They allowed their camera crew into their jails, into their police stations, into their interrogation rooms. They allowed this to happen. So I feel like they should take a little bit more ownership of that, and, tell them, yeah, look, this is what it was. They ran an investigation, this is for a television show, and just kind of tell them what's what, instead of saying, oh, well, that has nothing to do with me. That's always kind of bothered me a little bit, because there are other interrogations, and this one and in other stings where they tell them exactly, look, this is what went on. They take some responsibility for it, because like I said, they let them into these places where camera crews are normally not allowed to go and film. So take some ownership of that. That's, I might be alone in that feeling, but yeah, that's just how I feel about that. So moving on.
All had done this before. Like I said, I've read about.
Yeah,
Okay, this states
kind of got a
consent
point.
to a complete search of your vehicle located at Bowling Green Police Department, and more particularly described as a 2005 PT Cruiser bluish purple. You grant this consent to John Dudinsky, known to you as an agent of the Office of the Attorney General, and to such other officers deemed necessary to assist. You know that you have a right to refuse consent, and you voluntarily give up that right. You know that the agent does not have a search warrant. You have not been threatened or coerced in any way, nor have you been promised any favor or benefit. You have read this consent form or had it read to you, and you understand it. The date is 20th day of October 2007, and the time is 11:21 p.m. Is that correct?
So,
And you're going to allow us to look inside your vehicle, right?
yes, sir.
Okay, I just need you to sign right there.
And honestly, that's all that's in that bag. As far as in the back, they might be 2 pairs of shoes. It's hard for me to clean, so.
Right, are there any weapons or anything in there?
If there is, I'm gonna be mad because I don't know about them.
Okay.
Her.
There might be a few DVDs that my buddy's wrestling promotion, but that's about
Okay.
it.
Could you print your name here for me, please?
Okay.
And then write your address.
I don't think they found anything in the car, right? I mean, I know he had brought the KY jelly, but I don't think there was. I don't think they found any like child pornography or anything. That was all on his computer.
I'm in, but so bad to do that.
See, again, listen to it. I can't even make out what he's saying. He's just mumbling.
Tell you what, I'll write your address in for you. What's your
I'll do
address?
it.
Somebody come in right there. They're both looking towards the door. Somebody must have popped their head. Oh, yeah, here. I forgot she comes in here.
You guys ain't gonna like go search the house right now, are you?
No,
Because I mean,
this is for your car. I just need to put that
okay.
on.
Because I was gonna say if y'all are, let me at least call my mama and tell her what an idiot I am.
Right. Well,
Before
this
Yeah.
is just
this,
Yeah, you are kind of an idiot, Dustin. I'm not going to lie.
this is just for your car, okay?
yeah.
Are you hungry?
No, I'd throw up, man. I appreciate it.
Well, I didn't know what your medical situation was.
No,
If
but
you needed something to eat to keep your blood sugar level.
as
Or
upset as I am, I might have a panic attack. That's the only thing.
do you take any medication or anything that you're due for?
No, man.
Now that he's just pulling that out of his ass. That's nice that they brought like a snack in for him. They didn't do that for I don't think in any of the interrogations. I have to guess it's just because he's disabled, so they don't know what his, like she just said, what his medical situation is like. But that whole little, as upset as I am, I might have a panic attack. That is, I mentioned, in part one that there, the couple times when he starts to break down, I felt like that was, where that was genuine emotion coming out. But here, where he kind of his voice starts to shake again, and no, that he's just putting something on. He's again trying to do whatever he can, to get them to, because somebody who is in such a desperate situation, because this is a bad situation. I mean, if you're on that side of the table, you're basically fighting for your life. I mean, that it's a really, really bad situation to be in. So people who are that desperate, they'll do anything, they'll say anything, anything they can think of to try to get the cops to be like, oh no, he doesn't belong here. So yeah, no, he's not about to have a panic attack. He's just trying to get them to feel sorry for him, but obviously it's not going to work out for him.
Well, I'm gonna leave this here just in case you end up needing it. Okay. Need anything from me? I think they're gonna let him. So whenever you're ready, I'll go ahead and take this out. You need something, John? Give me a hug.
So, you met, just take us back here. You meet her online. You talk for a while, send each other some pictures, get to know each other, get to chatting on the internet. She asks you to come up. You throw KY jelly in the car, and just in case, and I believe you, I guess you tried to resist.
I mean, I wouldn't force myself on anybody, and I mean,
Well, let me ask you this.
I couldn't force myself.
Let me ask you this. You,
My first instinct about Dustin is that he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't forcibly, force himself on somebody. But I don't. There's a couple of parts of the chat log where it gets pretty dark, and it makes me wonder what he is. I mean, I know physically he's kind of limited into what he could do if that was the sort of thing that he'd be willing to do, but it does make me wonder what he's really capable of, because if you read through the chat log towards, closer to the end of it, when, he is getting, he's kind of established this relationship with her, and he's getting, a little bit bolder, a little bit more aggressive. It really makes me wonder, and there's other things that'll come up later that I'll talk about there, but it it makes me wonder what how far he would be willing to go, definitely.
You said you talked to another girl that was underage one time. And what happened on that?
I had originally talked to an older lady, late 30s, early 40s.
Where was she at?
The Tri-Cities.
What's the Tri-Cities? Is that what the city's called? Or?
It's Kingsport, Johnson City, Bristol. I can't remember which city it was.
Okay.
All
in Tennessee.
Yeah. They're all
Kingsport, Bristol,
and Johnson City.
Okay.
They call them the Tri-Cities because you can hit any of one from the other within like 5 mile distance or something.
Right.
That's why they call it the Tri-Cities.
Okay, so now we're getting into the story about the previous girl who that he had mentioned that he kind of got in trouble with, although not this kind of trouble because they didn't press charges. But yeah, this story, as we probably all know, because we've all watched this interview over and over, the story just makes zero sense. Absolute no sense. I would love to hear the other side of the story from, the family that was involved in this, because the way he describes this whole thing, it's like he's just an innocent victim and he did nothing wrong. So let's move on.
And she had me start talking to her 14-year-old daughter, and I said I didn't want to. And she gave her daughter my name and everything, and her daughter.
So why did you
want to date me? And she was wanting me to. The lady was wanting me to date her daughter, and I was like, no. And I tried to be a pervert to get her to leave me alone. And then I said, all I want is sex.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't want to talk to her, don't talk to her. I mean, did somebody hold a gun to your head? Just don't do it. Yeah, this is such bullshit. I don't know what the real story is that happened. I mean, why would a mom want her 14-year-old daughter to talk to Dustin is what, 26 here, I think, and he said that was, so I think they say he was like 21 when this situation happened. So why would, even if that was true, even if, I mean, maybe it was a situation where like her daughter, didn't get a lot of attention from guys, and she wanted to have a boyfriend, and her mom, so maybe I could kind of maybe see that happening. But the fact that he's legally an adult and she's not, I don't believe that this happened the way that he is describing it.
And
who'd you tell that to? The daughter or the mom or what?
I know the daughter, and I'm wanting to say the mom too.
What was it? What was mom's name?
I couldn't tell you. This has been, I think, I'm trying to go back in my mind. 2000, 2001.
How old were you then? 21, 20?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I see.
So the mom asked you to talk to her daughter.
I'm trying to.
You start talking to her, and then the mom wants you to start dating her daughter?
Yeah.
Did she ask you that online to date her daughter?
I believe so, and actually I told, the mom was asking me what I was doing for my birthday. I told her I was going out to dinner at a Japanese steakhouse. What was the name?
Well, I don't even know how this Japanese steakhouse story comes into the picture. Like, why, even if that did happen the way he's describing it, what does what does that have to do with this whole situation? He's just, I think that's just a diversion. He's just kind of trying to take things off the track, and he's stalling, and he's trying to, his mind is just racing, trying to frame the situation to where it's, to where he's the innocent victim, where it's not his fault. And as you can see, John's not really falling for it.
Trying to think. That's what I'm saying. My memory's bad.
Isn't it weird that their legs are kind of? I think Base Shaman noted that in his analysis of this video, but it's kind of weird that their legs are touching. Like, that's kind of awkward and uncomfortable. Like, I would move my leg if I were John, but I don't know. Maybe he has his reasons.
So, I mean, that's part of cerebral palsy, I think, is a little damage here there. Yonder, it was some kind of Chinese or a Japanese steakhouse.
I don't know if that's true. If memory loss is associated with cerebral palsy, but I'm just not buying that in Dustin's case. In a situation like that where you possibly are going to have charges pressed against you, I mean, you remember that sort of thing. That would be a very scary situation to be in. Obviously not as scary as the situation that he's now in, but no, you remember that stuff, and he doesn't. If you read the chat log, Dustin is not as, I think he's kind of trying to play it up like he's kind of maybe a little bit less intelligent than he is in actuality. Because he's not a stupid person, and I don't buy that he is having trouble remembering because of his condition. I don't think that that's true. I could be wrong. I'm not an expert on, his particular condition, so I'm not sure if that's true or not, but I'm just, my gut instinct is that it's not.
I told her. She shows up looking for me.
The mom did.
With the daughter.
Mm-hmm.
That was a little strange. And the man was, the woman's boyfriend was a cop. And I mean, I apologized and I cleared it up without going to.
What'd you have to apologize for, though, if she wanted you to date her daughter?
Yes, thank you, John.
I was trying to cover anything up just so I didn't go to jail or anything.
Yeah, damn right you were trying to cover. That he kind of tells on himself a little bit. He was trying to cover something up so he didn't go to jail. That's absolutely what he was doing. I think that was kind of even though he doesn't realize it, that's kind of a slip on his part. Like, he obviously he had to have done something that could have led to him, having charges pressed against him. Because, like John just said, this, why would he even be in trouble if that's really how it happened? That it doesn't make any kind of sense.
Because, I mean, people.
There's something missing from.
See, there he goes again. He's running out of things to say, so I don't know where he was going with that. He was starting to say people. I would imagine he's probably starting to go back into his whole people look down on me because of my condition, blah blah. I guess that's where he was trying to go again. I'm glad John cut him off though, because he was starting to flail there a little bit. Actually, I kind of wish he had let him go on though, just to see what other BS he would come up with.
From that story, that don't make no sense.
I understand, so I'm trying to think.
So
you ain't
got
kidding, John.
And the mother wants you to go out with their daughter or something, and you tried to act like a pervert so that you wouldn't, so she wouldn't want you to date her daughter.
Yeah.
Right? That's what you're telling me.
And
what type of things did you say?
I just want sex.
That's all you said?
I believe so. I didn't go into no details like in that thing over there.
Oh, now he definitely just told on himself right there. He kind of caught himself, but he just said, I didn't go into no details like, referencing the chat log, and then he kind of catches himself like, oh shit, I shouldn't have said that. That's that's funny. It's funny when he slips up and then he kind of realizes it and he tries to backpedal. That's always funny.
I guarantee that. I had never met the girl or anything like that.
Okay.
I mean,
So when you said you just wanted sex, what happened then?
next thing I know, she was upset and crying, and I was like,
At the restaurant?
No, I didn't say this at the restaurant.
Okay, you said this online?
This was after the restaurant. They didn't find me at the restaurant.
Okay.
We was back there in the back at a far end table, I think, and they didn't see us or something. I knew what the mom looked like, and I can't remember if I seen a picture of the daughter or not, but I remember the woman had a...
So where did you meet this cop and the girl and the mom at?
I never met them.
Oh, okay.
The mom asked me, I think it was a mom, asked me where it was, what I was doing for my birthday, because, I mean, yeah, my birthday's November 15th, and, people ask,
Right.
That's a common thing online. When's your birthday?
Right.
And, without saying, they try to get to know you. What do you do for
Well,
fun?
what I'm saying is...
Yeah, he's starting to flail there again a little bit. Like, what are you going on about? Like, we know that's a, a common small talk thing is to talk about what you do for your birthday. Again, he's just trying to divert him in another direction, but that's not going to work with John. He's way too sharp for that. I think any cop who is in a position of where it's their job to interrogate is too sharp for that.
Before the birthday thing, you told her you just wanted to have sex.
No, I told her after that.
After the birthday thing.
Yeah, because, I mean, if they're going to find me there, it's a little strange. And, I mean,
you told her after that.
Yeah.
Then what happened?
And she was upset, and I tried to resolve the issue. And I went to the technical school I was going to then. And I come home that day, and Mom's second husband says, there's a cop calling here for you. I'm like, what? What's going on?
And he likely was like, oh shit, like, oh man, I'm in trouble now. I can't really do the accent, but I done fucked up now. Yeah, it's just it bothers me so much that how he just tries to play up the, I'm just a nice country boy. She wanted me to date her daughter. And next thing God, it annoys the crap out of me. I'm starting to get a little bit worked up, which I guess is fun for the video, but oh God, sometimes I just want to punch him in the face.
It was, I don't know, it wasn't a sheriff, it was a police officer, and he said that they are thinking about filing charges. And Mom talked to him, and I don't know the whole story. That it's like, if he apologizes, we'll leave you alone. So
he doesn't know the whole story because his mommy got him out of it. Nice, Dustin.
I apologized, and because I don't like trouble.
Yeah. So you never got a ticket or anything for it? Or
No.
Never had to go to court?
No, it was settled over the phone. And
do you remember the girl's name?
No, I do not, sir.
Okay. How old was she?
Convenient.
I want to say 14. That's why I didn't want to talk to her in the first place.
Oh, bullshit, Dustin.
I knew back then not to talk to people younger, Because, I mean, and I thought it was weird that the mom wanted me to talk to the daughter.
If you knew, why did you talk to this girl?
Very good question.
I'll talk to anybody on the internet, but I didn't mean for anything to escalate to the way it did neither.
All right.
And, I mean, you say things and you don't think. I mean, we all do, I'd say, and I know what's in that. And
You got time to think about it now on what you said, on some of the things you said, correct?
yeah, and I mean,
Well, let me.
I egged a lot of it on, and she did a couple things. Sir.
What did she do to egg it on?
Like, she called me today, wanting me to come up here.
Mm-hmm. But you.
Well, what does it matter? She's like Chris Hansen said, she's not the one driving the train here. You're the adult. So what if she had been real? If she called you asking you to come up, it's not like you have no control over your actions. If a 14-year-old girl calls you up and says, "Come over and have sex with me," and you're, any age really. I mean, I know teenagers, get together and do whatever. But if you're an adult and she's 14, you say no. Not that difficult.
You were telling her you were her boyfriend, right? You.
I love the because he definitely was saying that and saying, I want to get married. I want to get married as soon as you're 18. That's all in the chat log. So he's like, oh shit. Now I don't know what the hell to say. It's so satisfying. It's so satisfying watching him squirm, watching him try to, come up with the right thing to say, trying to wiggle out of it, because we know that he is not going to be successful.
You wanted to marry her.
After she's 18?
Okay.
If we got along. Yeah, if you read that.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm gonna read it.
I'm
And
sure I'll probably flip-flop.
Here's the problem we got.
Yeah.
You ready for the problem?
Yeah.
Is you don't want to go to jail for a long time.
Yes.
All right.
But he's
I
gonna.
want to know the story on what your intent is and what you're planning on doing. Okay. And some of these things I'm going to need you to explain, because a jury and a judge are going to be looking at these things, right?
Okay.
And they're going to say to themselves, this guy here might have been willing to kill this girl or something.
No, sir.
Because some of this stuff looks pretty bad.
Yeah, that I went into a little bit in part one. That I don't think. I mean, I mentioned a little bit earlier that some of the chat log does get pretty dark. But I don't think John really believes that particular thing. I think he's again using the tactic of, make him think that you suspect him of something even worse, so they'll admit to what they were actually doing.
But let's establish right up front. You knew that she was 13.
I thought she was...
Hold on.
Oh, you did not, you freaking liar.
We're going to be honest with each other,
Yeah.
all right? I've been totally honest with you and up front.
Yes, sir.
I expect the same back, okay? If you'd have thought if you wouldn't have known she was 13 or something, why were you right away worried about a cop and telling her I can't talk to you? In several chats.
Got him.
Telling her how to,
Did I?
I can read this chat
yes,
right here.
you did.
I believe you, sir.
Talks about her being 13 later on, and that is 13 days ago. And you're telling her how to get rid of stuff on the computer.
Yeah, their chat was pretty long. I don't think it was quite as long as, well, let's see, I've got it pulled up here. I don't think it was quite as long as Lorne's, but it was almost, I think, came close to a month. So it started on September 30th, and last day was October 20th. So yeah, I mean, pretty, like a good 3 weeks, pretty close to a month. So yeah, he talked to her for a long, and I think it was pretty much every day that they talked. So it's not quite as long as Lauren's, but it's, approaching that long.
Computer, so nobody knows what you're talking about.
I didn't want her to get in trouble, so we couldn't
Okay.
even speak.
Okay.
And I don't
Did you not want her to get in trouble, or were you worried about you getting in trouble, or both?
I
I
think
was
that
worried
answer
about
is
her getting in
obvious.
You weren't worried about you getting in trouble?
Mm,
When the first thing you say is you're making sure there's not a cop or anything because you don't want instant trouble?
I mean, the
Again,
part. Yeah,
let's
I'm
be
being
honest.
honest. I'm being honest, sir.
You are not. Yeah, this, the I'm being honest thing starts. He really starts to say it when he's kind of been backed into a corner. So that's not a good tactic. That just makes you sound even more like a liar, which is exactly exactly what you are in this interview. You're, just lying your ass off, and it's funny to watch because this got him 8 years in prison. That's a long time. But he deserved. Well, there's worse stuff that we'll get into later on, that I want to kind of analyze a little bit. But yeah, this is when the I'm being honest really starts up. Is because he's just backed into a corner and he doesn't know what to do.
The part about showing her how to clear that
Right.
was so she didn't get in trouble with her parents because she said she wasn't supposed to be on the internet chatting.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want her to get in trouble like that, and I mean, if I get in trouble, I mean, I have to deal with the consequences. I'm dealing with them now, and I hate them, and I made some stupid choices, and I don't want to. I wish I could take it back, and I don't want to hurt nobody, and that's the truth. And I said some stupid things in there, and
When you tell her you want to hide the stuff that's on there and how to archive stuff.
I'm at 37 and a half minutes. I'll run to 40 and then I'll cut it off for next time. So let's continue.
A lot of this leads up to you wanting to protect yourself more than worrying about her. Am I pretty accurate on that?
Yep.
yeah, I was thinking more of her, but yeah, it was for me too. And like I said, I don't want trouble.
I mean,
I don't want nobody to get in trouble.
I'm not blaming you, but what I got to get to the bottom of here,
I know.
okay?
I'm being honest with you, sir.
I've got to get to the bottom of what's going on. And when you tell me half the truth first, and then the other half of the truth later on, and I got to ask 10 more questions, all you're doing is making it hard on me. And like I told you, judge and jury's going to hear this. You have things in here asking her
Yeah,
if she's had her first period yet.
I know.
You have things in here that sound as if you want to take her off somewhere,
Yes.
buy her from her mom.
Yeah, he says multiple times in the chat, can I kidnap you? I might have to kidnap you. I mean, he says it so many times. I mean, I don't know if that's something that he would actually have the balls to go through with it, but he says it enough times that, I mean, one time, okay, that's a joke, but when you say it over and over and over, you can tell that's like a secret wish of his that he really wishes he could just like take this girl and run off with her, and just, I don't know, hide out somewhere and have a bunch of statutory rape or whatever they have going on. No, I don't think it's something that he ever would have had the balls to actually do, but and the other thing, the buying her from her mom thing, I mean, again, it's something that he knows isn't realistic because I mean, most parents are, not going to be willing to sell their child. I mean, it's been, it has happened. There are, children that have been, sold for like, drug money or whatever by just really, the lowest of the low, bottom of the barrel, just complete scumbags. I mean, things like that have happened in the world, but that's another thing that he says it over and over. He says like, "I wish your mom wanted to get rid of you. I wish, I wish she wanted rid of you. I would, I'd buy her or buy you from her." That's another thing that I think is like a secret wish of his, but he knows that it's not a realistic thing. That's what I mean when I say that the chat gets, and there's other stuff too, which we'll get into. The chat gets pretty dark, and it makes him. I mean, obviously the child pornography, which they find, which like they get into later on in this conversation, is bad enough. But there's other hints of stuff. I'll keep pulling up the chat log when I do these so I can refer to some of the stuff that he says, because it's pretty disturbing when you sit there and kind of look at some of these smaller things, which you might not catch if you've only like skimmed through the chat log. So okay, so I'm at 41 minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop it here. We're 32:29 into, so we've got about another hour to go into this interview. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and leave it here for now, and I'll get part 3 up as soon as I can. So yeah, we've still got a ways to go. So all right, so until next time, this has been Lily Luna, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.